Hey guys, this is Illusion Podfic, and today we're going to read in Glowsticks and Bullet Holes by Hyperius. This is Chapter 18. The Watchtower was quiet. Guy Gardner and Hal Jordan stood side by side, a united front. Superman and Batman stood opposite them, Batman standing a step in front of Superman as he stared down the two green lanterns. There was a heavy silence, suffocating anyone who dared breathe. No one was willing to break the silence. No one was willing to be the first person to try and bridge the hostility between the two groups. That is, until Superman cleared his throat. So, about the thing you said, Hal, I also refuse to work with the Justice League if Batman remains a member. Superman snapped his jaw shut as he stared at Guy with wide eyes. That's two members who refuse to work with Batman. Batman simply snarled, "Fine then." "Batman!" Superman stepped forward, grabbing his friend's arm. "Don't say that. Can you two at least explain why you're making this ultimatum?" Guy scoffed. "He's abusive. He hurts Jason. He's a shitty-ass dad, and frankly, someone I'd happily throw in jail." "I've made mistakes," Bruce cut in, glaring at Hal and Guy. "I know I messed up with him in the past, but I'm working on fixing things." "The first way to fix things would be to admit you've been abusive." "I haven't." "Then you'll never actually fix anything." Bruce snarled, but he remembered. He remembered the conversation he and Jason had at the little cafe. How Jason thought of him as angry and aggressive. How he expected a lecture and disappointment rather than kindness. That right there is a testament to how much he has messed up, and he knows. He knows he messed up. He knows he has failed his son. And he knows he's been mean. Sometimes, but never was he abusive. He would never do that to his son. He would never. He's a good man at his core. He knows that. He's a good man with failings, but he could never. He's not that bad. He's not that cruel. He's not. He wouldn't. He loves his son. He loves Jason. He would never act in such a manner, so fuck them all. It's their fault. Hal and Guy are trying to taint his name, make him out to be this abusive monster to Jason and the League against him. It's the only thing that makes sense. "You're turning him against me," Bruce snarled, the accusation hanging heavily in the air as his fist clenched and eyes narrowed. "You're making him see cruelty when there is none." "No, I'm making him find his worth. You're making him overly sensitive, tainting his mind and turning him against me." Hal slammed forward, holding Batman's arm as best he could as he all but spat into Bruce's face. "You colossal asshole. We are only making him realize he deserves better than you." "No!" Bruce spat back, refusing to back down from Hal's aggression. "You're making him a victim. Soft. Weak. They're changing him from the strong man he was, and are making himself believe himself the victim of something that has never happened." Bruce learned, that once a person starts viewing themselves as a victim, they become weak. They are no longer a survivor or a fighter. Once he stopped viewing himself as a victim of a crime that took his parents, he learned how to fight, and he learned how to finally stand up for himself and become strong. So, yes, he knows that Jason's more than just a victim. He's not weak. He's learning to set boundaries. And he's realizing how much better he deserves. How he deserves better than the likes of you. Guy not only surprised the others, but also himself when he calmly pulled Hal off the bat. Hal could see the anger sizzling beneath Guy's skin, though, and he could tell that this was merely the calm before the storm. Jason is kind and genuine, and he's learning how to embrace this kindness for others, and more importantly, for himself. He's learning to allow himself the realization that he deserves kindness. He's learning that he can choose boundaries and standards for himself, and he's learning he does not need to allow anyone in his life that breaks those boundaries or hurts him, abuses him. He is learning to turn away toxicity, and that there is no reason to ever let those negative forces remain in his life. No, he's becoming weak. Weak, sensitive, soft. Maybe, if Bruce really thought about it, he realized that weak may not be really the best word for it. But it was the only one that came to his mind. Guy scoffed. "If kindness is a weakness, then I don't want him to be strong. That's not for you to choose. And is it for you?" Guy cocked an eyebrow, but otherwise remained still. Too still, as if trying to hold himself back from starting a war. "You aren't his father now, and I doubt you ever were." It was Bruce who threw the first punch, but Guy was quick to reciprocate. The battle was short but vicious, Superman stepping in quickly to pull the two apart, but already the damage was done. The both were bloody and bruised. "You fucker!" Guy pulled from Superman's grip, baring his bloody teeth. "I refuse to work with you. So decide, us or Batman?" He turned his glare to Superman. "And you! You aren't fucking innocent in this either. You sit by and let him get away with all of this? Even now with fucking proof, you take his side." Superman frowned. "He messed up, I know. But I also know Bruce, and he isn't abusive. We had to talk about the battering incident. But if that's a one-time thing, which he says it is, then I feel we can move on from it. We've all messed up after all. Hal shook his head, frown carved into his skin. You disappoint me, Superman. I really did believe you were the best of us once. But I can see now how wrong I was. Hal! Superman stepped forward, but Hal scoffed. No, I'm over it. He stepped back and Guy followed suit. We're out of here. We just want to make it official, so we officially resigned from the Justice League. The two Green Lanterns took one look at the Watchtower, their teammates, and breathed in the end of this chapter of their life. They never did think they'd leave the Justice League. At least, not like this, or for those reasons, but here they are. Superman watched the Green Lanterns leave the Watchtower and turned back to Bruce with a stricken face. Bruce, what the hell? I never abused my son, Clark. But they think, of course they think. He frowned. They always hated me and want me gone. Not everything is a conspiracy theory, Bruce. I know. He looked up at Clark. But do you honestly believe I would abuse my son? No, of course not. Of course not. Except, maybe he's starting to doubt his friend. He knows Hal and Guy wouldn't make up such accusations without some sort of proof. What aren't you telling me, Bruce? I told you everything. I made mistakes, and I'm trying to get better for Jason. They're trying to stop me. Mistakes. He made. Mistakes. Plural. Clark stared at his friend and swallowed the denial in his throat. He doesn't want to doubt Bruce, his best friend, but things do seem to be changing for them. Maybe his friendship has blinded him to Bruce's true nature. He truly hopes not, though. He really does. Wonder Woman walked in shortly, frown on her lips. I saw the Green Lanterns flee from the tower. And fleeing is quite different from leaving. She knows that. Fleeing means there's no intention of returning. What happened? They quit. Batman turned to stare, noticing Green Arrow was behind her, listening into their conversation. Why? Batman shrugged a shoulder, face impassive as ever. Rumors. It's nothing to concern yourselves with. Oliver Queen stared at Batman in his normal, impassive mask, and then turned his gaze to Superman, who, frankly, seemed a bit distressed. He then shared a look with Wonder Woman, and he could tell she was as intrigued as he was. They're hiding something, that much is clear. However, he knows better than to continue badgering Batman, as he will never break. But there are other ways to discover secrets, like texting Hal. Wonder Woman cleared her throat. What were these rumors? Powerful enough to cause two of our members to quit? It's nothing you need to concern yourselves with, as I told you before. It is. Guy and Hal were my brothers in arms, and so their distress is my concern. Batman turned away from his friend, striding from the room without a second glance back. It is between me and them, and that is final. Wonder Woman's eyes narrowed as Batman fled. There are dark secrets brewing between the team, and she will get to the bottom of it, no matter what. Dick pulled along Jason, bright smile on his face. Come on already. Do we have to? Yes. He laughed softly. You should get out more, you know? Hang out with people not twice your age. Hey, I like hanging out with old men. If the old men were Hal and Guy Gardner, that is. Yeah, come on now. He pulled Jason into a little restaurant. It was one of those places that modeled itself after one of those old-time burger and shake joints. Dick waved when he got in, immediately leading Jason over to a table where his friends were already sitting. Wally and Roy were waiting for them, and Jason immediately tensed when he saw the Archer. It's been a while, to say the least. Roy? Jaybird! Long time no see. Yeah. He smiled a bit, small blush coming up his cheeks. Dick smirked, pushing his brother into the seat next to Roy as he took his seat beside Wally. Jay shifted and Roy immediately elbowed him. Relax, I won't bite too hard. A little snort left Jason, and he immediately relaxed into the familiar banter. Yeah, I know. It's been a long time since he's seen his friends. It's been since the Outlaws, really. He's missed them. He's been too much of a coward to call him, but damn, he's missed him. It's been a while. Yeah? What's going on with you, man? Jason's smile turned strained. A lot. Roy frowned. Want to talk about it? No. Jason shook his head. I'd rather not. Roy frowned but nodded. He reached out and gave Jason's hand a tight, reassuring squeeze. Okay. He knows the best way to get Jason's mind off of whatever would be to torture someone else, so he turned his attention back to Wally and Dick. You two fucking yet? Wally snorted his coke and burst out into a coughing fit while Dick froze. Roy let an amused, lazy grin spread across his face. I see. Wait, you two are dating? No. By the way they were both red in the face, though, Jason had his doubts. Maybe it was one of those tropes where they were both pining for each other but refused to act on it type of thing. Lame. Jason would never do that. If he liked someone, he'd just tell them. It's really not that hard, after all. And he was used to rejection, so, yeah. Dick was ridiculous and should just admit his feelings already. Wally cleared his throat, cheeks red as he quickly went to change the subject. Anyway, Jason, where have you been hiding this time? No team? Nah, I've been at Hal's. Like, Green Lantern now? Yeah. Why? Jason frowned, shrugging his shoulders. Reasons. You still in the Teen Titans? Wally smirked. Actually, I upgraded to the normal Titans with Dick and Roy over here. Oh? Jason turned to the Archer. You joined the Titans? Roy grinned, shrugging. Yeah, I think I prefer groups than flying solo. Good for you, Jason returned his smile. He is glad Roy is moving on and continuing on with his life. He deserves it. He deserves the very best. Any crazy missions? Nothing like the trouble we got during our outlaw days, he laughed softly. But some have been fun still. I'm glad. Jason leaned into Roy a bit, and Roy leaned into him. They continued their conversations, recounting their newer missions and the fun trouble they've gotten themselves into. Roy spoke of his new arrows he was inventing, and Jason happily gave him more and more ideas. It felt good again to just be the two of them, Red Hood and Arsenal, Roy and Jason. I missed you, Roy chuckled. Leaving Gotham made you gooey. His smile only widened, though. But I missed you, too. Jason snorted. Gooey? What the hell does that mean? Like sappy or mushy. Why didn't you just use mushy, then? Shut up. Roy pushed at Jason. Don't call me out like this. Dick watched from across the table, smile wide on his face. He knew Roy missed Jason, could see it every time he looked at Roy's phone and saw that selfie of them together as the wallpaper. Even through the magic of Big Brother intuition, he could tell Jason probably missed Roy too. Getting the two of them together by themselves would have been too hard. The both of them would have probably refused the meeting, using some BS excuse, so he decided that this double date would have been the smartest option. Except it wasn't a double date, because him and Wally are not dating, obviously. He felt a vibration in his pocket and quickly removed his phone to see a message from Barry. Fuck. No matter what, it seems the real world won't let them get far. But it's fine. He'll deal with this and let Jason remain away from the brutal reality that chases them. At least for just a little while longer. It's the least he could do. Hey guys, he forced a grin back onto his face. I gotta run, but y'all take your time. Where are you going? Gotta get some grocery shopping done, he shrugged. I know, boring. You guys have fun. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. We will, promise. Bye, Dick Face. Love you too, Little Wing. Dick quickly left the restaurant, Wally not far behind. Wally saw the little frown that flickered before the blinding smile, and he noticed the way Dick was rushing. Something was wrong. Dick? Dick sighed, pausing in his stride as he turned to his friend. He let his mask fall and did nothing to mask the pain behind his eyes, and Wally was there, immediately, pulling him to a tight hug. His voice was softer when he spoke next. Dick? Dick returned the hug, hiding his face on Wally's shoulder. He trusted his best friend, trusted he'd be there for him no matter what. But this? He doesn't know how to share this. There's a lot going on. Barry needs me to help with some stuff. Some stuff? Yes, some stuff. Some horrible... A hiccup escaped Dick's throat, and the tears began to fall. Bruce, he hurt Jason. Oh, Wally was at a loss for words. Is this why he's living with Hal? Yes. And you? I'm going to stay with Barry for a bit. Good. Wally didn't know what was happening, really. He didn't have the full story. So he didn't know where to start, or how to begin properly comforting his friend. He didn't know what to say. All he did know, though, is that he wanted to help Dick in any way he could. If you want, I can stay with Barry, too. It could be like a slumber party. Yeah? Yeah. Dick sniffled, and he couldn't help the little smile that broke across his lips. There was a reason Wally was his best friend. I'd like that. Please. Red burned through him, and he felt the rage boil in his soul. There was a little common sense that remained in his burning mind, as the only thoughts that were allowed to linger were his thoughts for vengeance. An eye for an eye, blood for blood, a life for a life. Batman for Green Lantern. Boiling spit sprayed from his mouth as he turned on the man holding him back, red glowing from his skin as he stabbed for the man's heart. He will feast on the flesh of a man responsible for killing his dad. For killing Hal. Alright guys, and that's the end of chapter 18 of Glowsticks and Bullet Holes by High Praise. So go be exact it, and I'll see you next chapter.